Hello, everybody. Jonathan Pulley here with West Coast Weather. Today is January 24th. Sorry about not doing a video earlier. I went on an unexpected trip down to Southern California a couple days ago to go storm chasing after the Santa Ana wind event that just happened a few days ago. I went down with Michael Snyder from the Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Some of you may know him. Also a couple other guys from the Pacific Northwest as well. We got 103-mile-per-hour gusts with our an anemometer that we put on top of our vehicle. It was an incredible experience. I've never experienced a wind gust anywhere close to 103 miles per hour. So it was kind of scary, but also very exciting as well. It was a great trip. Thankfully, most of the wildfires that got started down there weren't nearly as bad as the Palisades or Eden fire. They thankfully were put out pretty quickly. There was a lot of fire engines and crews down there that helped put them out pretty fast this time around. So thankfully, it was not that bad. Anyways, now coming into the forecast. Here's the European model on the left and the GFS on the right. Here's a ridge of high pressure that's really been dominating the weather pattern for the past couple of weeks, and a trough is now starting to dig down over California and parts of the western United States. It's going to bring some very beneficial precipitation to parts of Southern California, with a couple inches of precipitation possible for parts of the low coastal areas and the mountains as well. So very beneficial. May cause some mudslide and debris flow issues, as there's some pretty large burn scars now that we're gonna have to keep an eye on over the next few days. But if I play this out, this upper level low kind of gets cut off from the main jet stream and just spins out over Southern California. However, over the Pacific Northwest, we have this very large ridge of high pressure that's just keeping us high and dry, but on the chilly side as well. But as we start going through towards the middle and late second half of next week, look at this ridge starts finally breaking down. We start getting some weather systems off the ocean, bring some beneficial precipitation back in the region. But it looks like we're going to be ending our January as one of the driest Januaries on record, because we've hardly gotten any rain compared to normal for a lot of the Pacific Northwest and a lot of the West Coast. So a pattern change is really needed right now to build up that snowpack again. But if my video freezes in this video, I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with my camera. So if my face gets frozen, that's the reason. So, but thankfully you guys can still hear me, which is the most important part. But looking at the GFS, you can see this trough is a little slower. The European model is a little faster. But if I play this out, look at the European model brings it all to the east, but the GFS brings this right over the water and back into the Pacific Northwest. This will allow for some Arctic air to spill out over the area, bringing some cold temperatures and the potential for some lowland snow. However, the European model also has some lowland snow chances, but it brings most of the cold air to the east, and is not not as eventful as the GFS. And if we continue to play this out, the European model brings another ridge into the area, which we really don't need right now. Thankfully, the European model last night was a lot better, so the models are still flip-flopping around, and for those snow lovers that you want to see something closer to the GFS solution, so hopefully we start seeing that over the next couple days. Still a lot to figure out, though. Now looking at the European model AI model, this is just the European model, but it's run off an AI algorithm, so it gets predictions a bit differently than a typical model. And I've heard some good things about it, and I like to just look at every here and there. But you can see how it brings a much stronger trough of cold air, would bring some Arctic air right down into the region. It's much better than the regular European model right now. So models are still all over the place, but generally everyone agrees that we're going to start at least getting into a more active pattern. How active it is and if we're going to get lowland snow or not is still in question, and we won't have details like that for at least a few more days. So I'll hopefully do another video early next week talking about those chances as well, or later this weekend even. But the AI model continues that trough, brings a couple more down, brings it all the way down into California even, which would be a lot more active weather pattern. So now looking at 6-hour precipitation type on the European model on the left and the GFS model on the right. Generally good agreement, no precipitation expected for much of the Pacific Northwest, but California is going to start getting rain and snow in the higher terrain. A few feet of snow is actually expected for a lot of the mountains down there, which is really great to see. We continue to be dry all the way until Thursday, the Friday of next week, before the frontal system, which is in good agreement on both models. However, the strength of the systems are still in question. But you can see even the warmer European model solution still starts bringing some of those blue snow colors down to the lowlands as well, and the GFS as well. But you can see the GFS has this really deep high pressure moving to BC. This is called an Arctic high, because when you get that really cold, dense air, it increases the pressure of the surrounding air. And that you want that high pressure to really build in and allow that cold air, that tight pressure gradient will allow the cold air to flow out of the mountain gaps. And that's how you can get that cold air to mix with the precipitation coming from any storm system that may be approaching the area. So the GFS solution is definitely colder and more active. Now looking at the 850 millibar temperature anomaly, basically how cold or how warm the temperatures are at about 5,000 feet in the atmosphere compared to normal. This is at this level in the atmosphere. It's a good indicator of how cold the air mass is that's above us and how good it is for snow and that sort of thing. And if we play this out, you can see ridge dominates the area over the next few days, keeping the air temperatures aloft pretty warm compared to the normal. And that will continue until Thursday, the Friday of next week. You can see the European model brings the cold air in a lot quicker. The GFS is a bit slower, but is deeper with that cold air. And look at this. Look at the GFS has off the charts cold air moving down in the BC. This is a bona fide Arctic air. However, the European model brings it most to the east, and it's a lot quicker shot for here on the western side. So the GFS is much colder and a lot better for snow chances as well. And then the European model brings us right back into almost the same pattern we have been in. The GFS continues it though into this close to the second week of February. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that as we go. Now looking at total cloud cover percentage. Going to be pretty sunny most of the afternoons, at least through the middle of next week before that frontal system goes through. You can see some maybe low fog, some maybe morning clouds around. But other than that, should clear up in the afternoons pretty well and mix all that air out, as that ridge of high pressure doesn't look to be in as favorable of a location as the last couple weeks that bring some of that fog that we've been getting. Not like an national blend of models, daily 2-meter temperature, a minimum temperature. Low temperatures are going to still remain below freezing for much of the area, even on the west side, with lows in the 20s and 30s and the 20s and teens on the east side. This will keep going all the way through next week. Then maybe on Thursday and the Friday next week, some areas on the west side will stop getting below freezing during the nighttime. But we look to get right back to it after that, as the potential for even colder air starts to mix back in. So definitely continue to expect freezes for a lot of areas, except maybe along the immediate waterways over the next week or so. Now looking at total precipitation in inches over the next few days for California. Look at this. Look at the beautiful orange and red colors down there for Southern California. You can see a couple 1 to 2 inches of rain is possible for some of the lowlands, even some precipitation amounts even higher than that. Some of this is going to be mostly convective, more showery in nature. There's even going to be some isolated thunderstorms. So the heavier precipitation rates may lead to some localized areas of debris flows and maybe some mudslides off some of those burn scar areas. So just keep an eye on the forecast and make sure you know your area well, especially if you're closer to some of those more mountainous areas, because those debris flows can be kind of dangerous. But this should be more beneficial than it is dangerous, at least. Total snow in inches, also a couple of feet of snow potentially for some of the higher terrain as well. Very beneficial to get out. There is Southern California, but some of these mountains are up over 7,000 feet of elevation. And I actually went up into those mountains, the San Gabriel Mountains right here, and there was some snow still melting from previous snow events earlier this winter. So they do get some snow up there, and there even is some very old ski lifts that we saw up there as well. So very beneficial to see. The 6 to 10 day temperature outlook is for January 29th, February 2nd. So you can see it's starting to trend towards the blue colors again, just along some of the western locations. I expect this to get even darker over the next few days. even some below average temperatures expected for parts of the desert southwest, maybe a little bit above normal for some of the interior mountain west. Total precipitation, we start getting those weather systems in the area. So above average precipitation has favored, unfortunately, Southern California and the desert southwest will continue to stay high and dry down there. The 8 to 14-day temperature outlook, January 31st through February 6th. Look at this. You can see the blues starting to creep in now as that Arctic air starts making its way closer to the Pacific Northwest. How much it comes over the Pacific Northwest is in question, but it's definitely starting to be favored. And continued storm systems as well, leading to above average precipitation is expected. So anyways, I hope everybody's having a great day. We'll continue to look at this as we go. There's still a lot of details we need to iron out over the few days. I'm going to try to see if I can figure out this camera issue, because it's kind of annoying to have my face frozen there. That's the whole point of having a camera. So I'll figure that out. Hopefully I can get that fixed. I might need to get a new camera. Hope everybody's having a great week so far. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Stay safe out there if you're near any burn scar areas down there in Southern California, because there may be some debris flows as well. So I'm keeping my hopes up that we'll get some snow later as we go into late January and early February. Unfortunately, it's hard to know if we will or not, but the chances are looking better than it has all winter. So my hopes are higher than normal. So anyways, take care. God bless. And I'll talk to everybody in the next forecast video.